I was told I could listen to the radio at a reasonable volume. Hey everyone, Allison here for Black Cat Scraps, and I have a super awesome card today that I'm so excited to share with you. Please keep watching. Hi everyone, I got some vellum here. A standard size card cut down to 5.5 by 4 1/4. And be careful when you are folding your card to make sure not to crack it, because if you do, you'll have a white line through your vellum. And what's great about vellum is you can do a whole lot of layering and having see-through, and it's really cool. So I've got my slice and I'm cutting a pumpkin out that I'm planning on using in the card, and this is on black cardstock, and this is from the disc of Basic Shapes with Seasonal. And then I'm just gonna peel it up. What's great about the slice is you can just get spray adhesive and spray it on the glass, and it actually can be used over and over and over again before you have to respray. So I've got a moon that I had just cut out as well on black cardstock. Also from the same disc of Basic Shapes. I've got my Martha Stewart bat punch, and I'm going to punch out some bats on Recollection black cardstock, and I'm going to set that paper aside. I'm going to use it later. I'm going to draw out a cloud. I'm going to cut it out, and I'm not going to be too concerned about following the pencil lines exactly, because, you know, clouds, there's no rhyme or reason about their shapes, so it doesn't matter here. I just wanted it for a guideline. And I'm going to erase what lines I did cut over. Here's the tricky part, is to plan out your dimensionals. My first layer directly on the cardstock between the first cloud and the cardstock is a thin dimensional. The next is a thick dimensional, and then the second cloud is going to go directly on the moon, and then the next layer is going to be a thin dimensional. So I'm just planning out hiding the pop dots underneath the moon there, so I don't have to worry about it on the front side. And then over here I'm going to try and use as little of pop dots as I can. So I have a plan to hide the ones that you see on the front of the card, so my little 3-year-old's talking in the background here. So I'm checking to see how many layers I need, and I need 2 layers, thick and a thin, on that piece, so that's what I did. Okay, I'm going to place my moon down, and then going to plan out, I'm going to go ahead and start putting down the bats to cover up the pop dots. And I've got a little bit of glue left over on my hand, so that's what I'm doing there. So that little bat is going to cover up glue that's directly on the moon. And then I'm going to add pop dots back there for a little more support, and I'm going to make sure I get the right layering, so I need a thick and a thin. And what's great is these thick and thin dimensionals come from Recollections, and I gotta add another bat here because it needs it. They're a little awkward because they're round, but so I'm gonna make sure that I cover up all the pop dots that you see on the back side. So I'm putting little dots of glue and placing my bats about. Cool. So the next step I've got here is a shadow cutout of a pumpkin, and this is going on the back of the card so that I can put a pumpkin on the inside of the card, and they cover up the glue marks. So this is the pumpkin I just cut out. Right here, I'm going to stick that down inside the card. I'm using Tombow Mono Permanent Adhesive. Really great adhesive to use when you want to keep your cards professional. Often if you use too much craft glue on paper, you can make it wrinkly and watered down. So here's an Encore stamp pad. This is metallic silver, and it's by the same company that makes the Versamark, so it's very juicy. But I've got this witch stamp from Inkadinkadoo's All Hallows Eve Halloween. So I'm going to stamp her down. I think she's just one of my favorite stamps so far. I'm sure you've noticed me use it throughout all the cards I've been doing for Halloween. And beautiful impression. So this pumpkin is from the same stamp set, and I'm using my Color Box Petal Point. I'm using the orange, and I wiped off a little bit of the stem of the pumpkin and I added some green. And that part I wiped off as well so I didn't contaminate my ink pad. And I'm just kind of rusticking, adding a little bit of black from Color Box. And I'm going to stamp this twice. What's great about stamping on vellum is the ink tends to take a while to dry, so you can use pretty much any ink if you wanted to do embossing, and that's what I'm planning on doing. Just because I love it. And I'm using, once again, clear embossing powder with glitter. I'm going to heat set them. Make sure I do the back too. The vellum started to warp a little bit and the pumpkins were staying firm, so I kind of needed to work the heat evenly. And then when I'm done, I want to make sure that I hold it down flat so that it dries, or it cures flat. Okay, and unfortunately right there I had gotten some ink on my hand and got it on the moon, so it inspired a cute idea to add some ribbon to the front, which I think it has actually added because the front needs a little more color. So, and I didn't want to have anything below the card underneath the moon because I knew you'd be able to see the pumpkin patch through, and it's just cute the way it is. So I've got a large glue dot actually that I cut in half so that I could stick it on both sides of my ribbon. If I had mini pop dot glue dots, that's probably what I would have used. So I'm just going to wrap it around the moon and glue it down. Right. And the card is finished. This was super fun, really cute. Took a little ideaing and planning, but it worked out great. And one other idea you can do with your cards is, this is the envelope I plan to use, and I've got the bat's punch, and I'm making sure that there is a gap on the corners so that, because the envelope is not squared, it's a little tighter than that. So now my card matches its envelope. Beep, beep, beep. You hear that? It's my little sparrow. He's going nuts. Alright. Thanks for watching. Comment, subscribe, rate. See you later. Bye. Blog.